You wake up, reach for your phone, and start scrolling. 5 minutes pass, then 10, then 20. You're not even enjoying it anymore, but you can't stop. Eventually you put it down, but nothing else seems appealing either. That book you wanted to read? Too boring. That hobby you used to love? Too much effort. Everything feels flat, dull, like life has lost its color. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Millions of people today are experiencing what neuroscientists call dopamine dysregulation, and it's quietly stealing our ability to enjoy the simple pleasures of life. But here's what most people get wrong about dopamine. It's not actually the pleasure chemical. It's the anticipation chemical, the wanting chemical. And understanding this difference is the key to getting your excitement back. Let me explain. Your brain has a reward system that evolved over millions of years. This system was designed to keep our ancestors alive. When they found food, their brain released dopamine. When they discovered a water source, dopamine. When they successfully hunted or gathered, dopamine. This chemical didn't just make them feel good, it motivated them to repeat those survival behaviors. But here's the crucial part. Dopamine spikes before the reward, not during it. It's released in anticipation. It's what makes you want to check your phone, not what makes you happy when you do. It's what drives you to open the refrigerator, not what satisfies you when you eat. The actual pleasure comes from a different chemical entirely, something called opioids that your brain produces. So dopamine is desire. It's the hunt, not the feast. And this system worked perfectly for thousands of years, in an environment where rewards were scarce and required real effort to obtain. But then something changed. We invented the internet, social media, video games, streaming services, online shopping, food delivery apps, and suddenly, rewards became infinite and instant. Think about it. Your ancestors might have experienced a few dopamine spikes per day, finding berries, catching a fish, sharing a meal with their tribe. But you can experience hundreds, even thousands of dopamine hits in a single hour. Every notification, every like, every scroll, every swipe. Each one triggers that same ancient system, flooding your brain with the anticipation chemical over and over again. And here's where the problem starts. Your brain isn't stupid, it adapts. When you're constantly bombarded with dopamine triggers, your brain does what any good system does. It protects itself. It downregulates. It reduces the number of dopamine receptors. It's like turning down the volume when the music is too loud. This process is called habituation, and it's why that first bite of chocolate tastes amazing, but by the 10th piece, you barely notice it. It's why a new relationship feels electric, but eventually becomes comfortable. It's your brain's way of preventing overstimulation. But in our modern world, this protective mechanism has become a trap, because the dopamine triggers never stop coming. So your brain keeps turning down the volume. The receptors keep decreasing. And suddenly, normal, healthy activities don't register anymore. Reading a book doesn't provide enough stimulation. A walk in nature feels boring. A real conversation seems dull compared to the constant novelty of your feed. You've essentially given yourself a tolerance, just like someone who develops a tolerance to a drug. And just like with drugs, you need more and more stimulation to feel the same level of excitement. This is why people can spend hours scrolling through content they don't even enjoy. They're not looking for pleasure anymore. They're just trying to feel something, anything. The science backs this up. Research from Stanford University shows that people who use social media for more than 2 hours per day have significantly altered dopamine receptor density. Studies from the NIH have found that the brains of people with internet addiction look remarkably similar to the brains of people addicted to cocaine or gambling. The same reward pathways, the same receptor downregulation, the same inability to feel satisfied. But it gets worse. When your dopamine system is dysregulated, it doesn't just affect excitement, it affects motivation. Because remember, dopamine is what drives you to take action. It's what gets you out of bed, What makes you pursue goals? What gives you the energy to build something meaningful? When your baseline dopamine is constantly depleted, even thinking about doing something productive feels exhausting. Your brain says, why bother? Nothing feels worth the effort anyway. This is why so many people today struggle with what they call executive dysfunction. It's not laziness, it's not lack of willpower, it's a neurochemical problem. And here's the really insidious part. The companies that design these apps know exactly what they're doing. They hire neuroscientists and psychologists specifically to make their products as addictive as possible. Variable rewards, infinite scroll, autoplay, notifications. Every feature is engineered to hijack your dopamine system. They've turned your brain into a slot machine, and just like a slot machine, you keep pulling the lever, hoping for that next hit, even though you know deep down that you're not really winning. So what do we do about it? How do we reset our dopamine system and get that sense of excitement back? The answer is surprisingly simple, but it's not easy. You need to do a dopamine detox. Not the trendy extreme version where you sit in a dark room for 24 hours. That's not backed by science. I'm talking about something more sustainable and more effective. First, identify your highest dopamine triggers. For most people, it's their smartphone. Social media, games, streaming, random browsing. These are the supernormal stimuli that are drowning out everything else. You need to dramatically reduce your exposure to them. Start with a 30-day challenge. Delete the most addictive apps from your phone. Not just logging out, actually deleting them. If that feels impossible, that's a sign of how much you need it. You can always reinstall them later, but give your brain a break. Second, embrace boredom. I know that sounds terrible, but boredom is actually essential for dopamine recovery. When you're bored, your brain starts to recalibrate. Those receptors begin to regenerate. That baseline sensitivity starts to return. Sit with the discomfort. Don't immediately reach for a distraction. Third, replace your high dopamine activities with moderate ones. Go for walks without your phone or earbuds. Just walk and observe. Read physical books, the kind where you turn actual pages. Cook a meal from scratch. Have a face-to-face conversation. Do something with your hands. Build something. Create something. These activities provide dopamine, but at a natural, healthy level. And here's what's fascinating. After just 2 weeks of reducing your exposure to supernormal stimuli, you'll start to notice changes. That book suddenly seems interesting. That hobby feels engaging again. A simple conversation becomes enjoyable. Food tastes better. Music sounds richer. It's like someone turned the color back on. After 30 days, the transformation can be dramatic. People report feeling more motivated, more creative, more present. They sleep better. They have more energy. They feel excited about their goals again. And most surprisingly, they don't even want to go back to their old habits because they realize how much those habits were costing them. But there's one more critical piece to this puzzle. You need to understand the difference between wanting and liking. Dopamine makes you want things, but it doesn't make you like them. This is why you can scroll for an hour and feel worse afterward. You wanted to scroll, but you didn't actually like it. Real satisfaction, real pleasure, real joy. These come from opioids and serotonin, not dopamine. They come from meaningful activities, from deep work, from genuine connection, from helping others, from creating something, from being fully present in the moment. The tragic irony of our dopamine-driven culture is that in our constant pursuit of the next hit, the next notification, the next piece of content, we're missing out on the actual experiences that would make us happy. Think about your happiest memories. Really think about them. Were any of them from scrolling social media? Probably not. They were probably from experiences, from real-world interactions, from challenges you overcame, from moments of presence and connection. Those experiences didn't necessarily provide huge dopamine spikes in the moment, but they provided something much more valuable, lasting satisfaction, So here's the bottom line. If nothing feels exciting anymore, it's not because life has become boring. It's because your dopamine system has been hijacked by technologies that were specifically designed to exploit it. You're not broken. Your brain is just responding normally to an abnormal environment. The good news is you can fix it. You can recalibrate. You can get your sensitivity back. But it requires intentional action. It requires saying no to the constant stimulation. It requires embracing temporary discomfort for long-term gain. Your brain is incredibly plastic. It can adapt to almost anything. It adapted to the overstimulation, and it can adapt back to normal stimulation. But you have to give it the chance. So the question isn't whether you can recover your ability to feel excited about life. The question is, are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to put down the phone? Are you willing to sit with boredom? Are you willing to rediscover what actually matters? Because on the other side of that discomfort is a life that feels vivid again. A life where a sunset takes your breath away, where a good conversation energizes you, where your work feels meaningful, where you wake up with genuine enthusiasm for the day ahead. That life is still available to you. Your dopamine system wants to heal. It's just waiting for you to give it permission. The excitement you're looking for isn't in the next video, the next post, or the next notification. It's in the real world, waiting for you to look up and notice it again.